Well, hello, and welcome to Episode 6 of the Tea with Tea. And Mochi will be joining me today. Well, at least for now. And today, I want to talk about reality and what it actually is, consciousness, the universe, all of that. Look at these little toe beans. Look at your little toe beans. You're so cute. You're such a cute little kitty. You're such a cute little kitty. First off, I want to say that whatever you believe, religious or non religious, whatever, I have no judgment or hate towards anyone and what they believe. I'm just speaking based on what I've learned, some of what I believe. Some things I just entertain because they can make sense, but I don't necessarily believe them. But a lot of the time, when I learn things like that, it leads me down a road to find what I really do believe in. So, yeah. Maybe me talking about some of this stuff will kind of do the same for somebody out there who, doesn't really know what they believe in or is exploring. Maybe I can be of help in you figuring out what it is you believe. But if you believe in a certain religion or anything like that, that's cool. I used to go to church. It was a Christian or Wesleyan church, which is Christian. So that's the thing. I don't have hate in my body for anyone or anything. So whatever you believe is what you believe, and I just hope that people will show me the same respect for what I believe. Just such a cootie patootie. Such a cootie patootie. So, what is life? What are humans? And what does it all really mean? I wish I knew definitive answers to these questions, but I don't. And neither does anyone. None of us can 100% wholeheartedly say that any one belief is factual. It's all beliefs. That's the thing. You can't know something and believe it. That's why you believe it, because you don't know it to be fact. Every religion, if you're spiritual, if you're an atheist, no matter what, none of it's factual. It's all belief. And that's why I don't understand why people judge other people for their beliefs so much, because it's like their belief is no more or less wild than yours is. Even going Christianity all the way to the polar opposite of atheist or atheism, it's no different. It's still a belief system. That's it. And just because one may seem more relatable or more realistic or whatever to you doesn't mean it is to everybody or anyone else. I don't understand why people aren't more accepting of other people's belief systems, because just like you believe what you believe, everybody else is allowed to believe whatever they believe. That's what I don't understand. Like, people who pretty much knock on doors to sell you their religion. Like, that's what it feels like. Like, you don't see atheists or Buddhists or just spiritual people going knocking on doors saying, hey, here's what I believe, you should believe it too. And they think they're doing it for a good reason, because they're, if they help them believe what they believe, then their soul will be saved or whatever it may be. But it's like, every human has free will. So by you forcing something upon them, you're affecting their free will. And yeah, of course, they still have their free will to decide that they don't want to believe what you believe, but that pressure, that influence can cause them to, believe something that they may not actually in their heart truly believe. But anyways, I personally believe that we all come from a source, from the same source, an energy source, not a being, nothing that has a mind or a physical body or anything like that. It's literally just energy. That's where we come from. And that energy created our reality almost out of boredom. Like, that's just probably the best way to describe it. I don't believe that that's really what it was, but within our 3D reality and our basis of understanding, that's the easiest way for me to describe it. The creator, the source, the all that we are all created from got bored because it's literally everything. So it's like, what's something new I can do? Just like as humans, we get bored and say, let's try a new hobby or create something new. How video games get created or anything, how anything gets created. It's the same concept. Our creator, source, the all, God, whatever you want to call it, got bored and said, what can I do for fun? And created our reality to have a human experience. So we are all source having a human experience. That's what all of us are. So we all have source within us. I know some of this stuff might be controversial, but all of the religions, all of the belief systems are essentially saying the same thing, just in different ways. Just like in the Bible, I couldn't tell you what verse or anything like that. It's been a really long time since I've read any of the Bible, and I've never read it cover to cover. So this is all just research that I've done, as well as some reading that I did when I was going to church when I was a teenager. But in the Bible, it does say, like, God is love and God is within us, whatever, things like that. And that's, people don't take that literally when they should. Because if God created us, then we are a piece of God. Just like as parents, you create a child and your DNA is within them. So essentially, our creator's DNA is within us. Our creator's power and energy is within us already. So it's not something outside of us that we have to reach for or worship. It's already within us. And once you realize that and tune into that, life becomes a lot different. Instead of searching and seeking for things outside of you, you realize everything is already within you. It's a very powerful place to be. That's why life is set up the way that it is. It's literally, that's why a lot of people say that we live in a simulation. Because it's almost like a video game where there are the bad guys and the good guys. And you choose which one you become. You can be successful no matter which way you choose to go. You can also choose to stay in the middle and be the middle class, the working class. And either way, no matter what path you choose, it's your choice. You have control over that. So before I had this belief system, I wasn't connected to source. I wasn't connected to my higher self, which is connected to source or is source itself. Most people aren't, because as soon as we're born, we're given vaccines, we're loaded up with chemicals, we're programmed to believe that we're less than or not worth it, or that the only way we can be successful is to go to school and follow direction and then pay to go to more school. Like I've said this in previous episodes, like they program us this way in order to make us live a life that will make it easy for them to siphon our energy. And them, I mean, would be the bad guys, so to speak, the negative energy. And they siphon our energy because they can't create enough of their own, because they're on a negative, low vibrational frequency. Like they are low, right? Which negative and positive are polar opposites, right? But the light always outshines the dark. No matter how dark you want to be, no matter how successful you want to become in the dark, the light will always be more powerful. And that's why they siphon our energy, because they can't create enough of their own to sustain themselves. That's why the working class exists, because they feed off your energy and you willingly give it to them by distraction, by going to a 9-to-5, by feeding into the materialistic lifestyle of needing all this stuff and needing the best version of this stuff. Like once you find peace, once you connect with source and realize that you are source, you can live life as source and have all the power in the world, more power than the dark could ever even imagine. I think I'm struggling because I feel like a hypocrite, or like I'm contradicting myself, because I still struggle. This programming that we go through growing up is really difficult to get rid of or delete. It's a extensive process to reprogram while still living within the program, if that makes sense. So we're programmed to think that we're not enough, not deserving, you can't do what you want in order to survive. You have to do what they tell you you need to do. You need to create a career on the path that they think will be best for you, or they tell you will be best for you. When really, we should all just be following our intuition and doing what makes us happy. That's what we were put here to do. But because of this programming, because of what life has become, because of what the one percenters, the dark, has turned life in this reality into, it becomes very difficult to just live, to just be, to just exist. They teach us that we're supposed to be fighting for something better. We're always supposed to be wanting better, when you don't need to fight for that. You just need to let it come. You just need to let it happen. You need to set an intention, know that you're deserving of it, and love yourself enough to trust that no matter what happens, you will be okay. And then all of a sudden, most everything that starts happening is good. But you have to go through the bad first, because especially being programmed and going through this life, building up karma and all that, you have to cycle through all that before you get to the enlightenment, so to speak, to the place where you are able to just create the life you want and continuously maintain that life. In order to get there, to that enlightenment, you have to let go of a lot of things. You're going to lose a lot of things. You're going to, go through a lot of self-reflection and all these things that seem hard, that seem bad, when in reality, they're actually what's going to help you create the life you want. They're going to help turn you into the version of yourself that you truly are, not the version of yourself that the Matrix created, so to speak. So if everything is energy, if we're all created from this energy source, why wouldn't we all have that energy within us and the power to do whatever source can do? That's why you see some people have certain abilities like telekinesis or telepathy, things like that, because they have the source power already within them. We all do, and we could all access those powers if we truly believed it. And that's the thing. Belief is everything. So when you believe that your savior is outside of you, you are going to live your entire life searching for something outside of you in order to give you fulfillment, just to find out that when you die, there's no heaven, there's no hell, there's no God or Jesus. It's all just energy. And you get to pick if you want to be part of the negative energy or you want to be part of the positive energy, or if you want to be somewhere in the middle. You get to choose that. And that's not just after you die. That's during this life, this reality. You choose. That's why some people say there's no hell, we're already in hell. Because you can be in hell if you choose to be. You can also choose to be in heaven. It's all about energy. It's all about frequency and where you choose to land. And I mean, it's just like a radio station. You tune in, to whatever radio station. So you tune into whatever frequency that you want to be a part of. And if you're all the way at the bottom, you're all the way at, with the dark and the negative, you can't just hop all the way to the positive. No, it's a process. You got to go through all the other frequencies before you can get there. Just like tuning a radio. You have to tune through all the other radio stations to get to the one that's all the way at the other end of the spectrum, right? It's the same for us as humans. It all depends on what frequency you want to be tuned into. And it really blows my mind that some people have such strong beliefs, not ever having proof. But they're like, oh, God spoke to me. I saw God. God touched me, whatever. But it's like, where did that happen? Did other people see that happen? No, it's all in here. It's all in here because life is mental. Hi, kitty. The mind is all. All is in the mind. Life, reality, creation is all here. That's it. We're all in our own individual realities. We're all just energy interacting with each other, interacting with itself, because we come from the same energy source. We like to individualize things, but we're not individual. We're all one. We all come from the same thing, and we're just here having a human experience. That's it. And there's the darkness, the negativity has taken control of this reality but you can choose to remove yourself from it, because when you get onto a higher frequency, they cannot harvest your energy. They cannot control you. When you realize the power that you hold within you, they can't control you. They have no control. It does not matter. You think, oh, because of how life's set up, you won't be able to pay your bills, we want, but all that kind of stuff. But no, that's the limiting mindset. That's the lack that they instill into you from birth, pretty much. Is to think that you need their system in order to survive, when in reality, you don't need their system at all. Their system was put in place to siphon your energy, to control you. And when you remove yourself from that, life opens up for you. And you can live a life that you never imagined being able to live. But here you are living it. And no, it's not going to look perfect right away. I mean, nothing is ever perfect, but it's not going to look the way you want it right away. It's a process of reprogramming, of deleting old programming, of removing excess from your life. That's the thing, is once you reach that peace, that enlightenment, you don't want all that extra stuff. You don't want the Ferrari or the Louis Vuitton or all these brand names. You don't want all of that because you don't need it. Like, okay, yeah, you might want a nice car, a nice house, but you don't need excess. You don't need a bunch of houses, a bunch of cars, a bunch of bags, a bunch of shoes. No, you don't need all that. But you don't want all that because you don't need it. You detach from the materialistic mindset. So you don't need any of that. And that's key. Detachment. Stop being attached to anyone or anything, any kind of outcome. Detachment is key. Once you become detached, everything is attracted to you. Because when you're attached to something, anything at all, even if it's the idea of needing a 9-to-5 job in order to survive and pay your bills, right? If you're attached to that idea, you are never going to be able to not have a 9-to-5. Whatever you're attached to is what you will see, because where your thoughts go is where energy flows. So if you're thinking, I have to work a 9-to-5 in order to pay rent, you're going to have to work a 9-to-5 to pay rent. If you think, oh, I can follow my creativity and find ways to pay my bills through that, then that's what you're going to be able to do. Like, period. And no, it's not just going to happen like that. There's going to be a process. It is a process. It is something that happens over time, and time itself is a concept. It's not even legitimate. So it's created, it's man-made, just like I believe the Bible is, even though there is truth to the Bible. And I believe that there was a version of the Bible before men got their hands on it and took things out and rewrote things and all that. There was a holy book, I believe, that had a lot of wisdom in it that was just taken out of context in order to control us. It's almost like they just wanted to see if they could do it, see how many people would believe, just like how all maps and educational books, encyclopedias, things like that before the 1950s all said that the earth was flat with a dome. Even the Bible says, the earth is a flat plane. I can't remember how it's worded, but it's covered by a dome that separates the waters of above from the waters from below. These ancient books and these ancient societies and everything all believed that the earth was flat with a dome. And then all of a sudden in the 1950s, they changed that. And it really almost seems like they wanted to be like, let's see how many people in society we can get to believe us just by saying this. They don't have proof. They don't actually have proof. And even nowadays, like, they might say all day that they have these satellites and shit out in space taking pictures and videos or whatever. But are we out there to be able to prove that that's true? No. Especially with effects and AI and everything nowadays. I even saw a video the other day. This guy, he's a flat earther, was talking, to someone who believed the earth was round. And he showed him this video and he was like, this is a satellite video, and, how do you believe that this is real? Because they could be tricking us. It could be CGI, whatever. And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure some videos are whatever. I didn't even get to finish the sentence before the guy said, just watch the video. The video turns upside down, and it's literally a video from the guy's yard at the sky, and they put a satellite in there in the image to make it look like it was up in the sky looking down at the earth. Literally. So it was literally just a video from their yard looking up at the sky, just reversed, like upside down. And it tricked the guy. The guy really was trying to defend, saying that's legitimate footage from outer space of the earth. And it's literally the guy was recording it himself. And he was like, and I have no budget. No budget at all. They have $65 million, billion dollars, however fucking much, to do whatever they want, to convince us of whatever they want. And it just, I do believe the earth is flat, especially with all the pilots that say, that they don't account for curvature in flight. It's all just a straight path, as well as construction workers that build things like bridges. They say that they don't account for curvature. It would be like 8 inches of curvature per mile. And they don't account for that when building a bridge. So if a bridge is over a mile long, or any kind of structure that's over a mile long, there should be some sort of whatever math that is, algebra. I don't know. I'm not a mathematician, but they should take into account the 8 inches of curvature that would be throughout that mile. So every pillar that's holding this bridge up would have to be different height in order to account for that curvature. You see what I'm saying? But the government and stuff tries to say, oh, it's too subtle for us to notice. It's not. It's literally 8 inches per mile. 8 inches of curvature per mile. So that's like when you look off into the distance, and let's say you're on a beach, right? And you're looking down the beach. All the buildings, piers, and everything, there's no curvature to that. And your eyes can see a mile away. Like, obviously not clearly, you're not going to be able to tell exactly what it is, but there's a tall hotel building a mile down the beach. You're going to be able to tell that it's there, and there's no curvature. There's no 8 inches of curvature making it look like it's further down. Just saying. Even footage of the sky and everything from the ground, people take time lapses of the stars at night, and they literally just, like, the way that it's not that they're rotating around a sphere and like the sphere is moving and all that, like all the stuff that they say is literally the same stars in the same spots circling around the center. So it's like all just going like this. Like if this is the center, they're all just going like this. It's not rotating around this entire ball. Just like, no, that's not. But that's just what I believe. I don't judge you for your beliefs. Don't judge me for mine. If you believe the earth is round, that's cool. It is what it is. Ain't no hate, because I believed it was round up until a few years ago. Actually, I remember when I was really getting into, the flat earth theory. There's this guy, the fittest flat earther. I don't know if he's still around, but I watched a lot of his content, which is what made me do a lot of my research, because he would make videos and say certain things about whatever, like different theories or different things that didn't make sense if the earth were to be round. Just like the bottom of the ocean would be closer to the core of the earth, no? And the core of the earth is supposedly molten lava, magma. So why is the bottom of the ocean not hot, boiling even? If it's closer to the core of the earth, where it's thousands of degrees, then the bottom of the ocean should be hot. But it's not. It's freezing. It's freezing. Make that make sense. But anyways, no matter what you believe, everybody has their own beliefs. Doesn't matter what you personally believe. Everybody has their own beliefs, because even someone who may agree with me that the earth is flat may believe it in a different way than I do. May believe that, there's no dome or whatever it may be. Like there's different ways of believing everything, and everybody is entitled to their own beliefs. So for one, stop being an asshole and judging people for what they believe, because your beliefs are just as far-fetched to them as theirs are to you. So sit the fuck down. Like, you're allowed to believe whatever you want, so is everybody else. Anyways, I feel very passionately about people allowing other people to be themselves and believe what they want. It's none of my business what anybody else believes. Okay? And I'm not ever going to push my beliefs on anybody else. And so I wouldn't want anyone to do that to me. I don't understand why we all can't just coexist. Literally, just coexist. Like, just live. Just be. Doesn't matter about anybody else. Just live your life. If you're focused on you, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or does or anything. Focus on you and what makes you happy and what resonates with you. Throughout my life, I've believed a lot of different things. And even more recently, you know, I've had interactions with people who had different belief systems from myself and read some of their holy book. And, you know, it really opens my eyes to the different forms of belief and how such different things can resonate with different people. And who am I to say what you believe is wrong? And that's, for all I know, what you believe is right and what I believe is wrong. Nobody knows for sure. But this is just what I believe. That we all come from an energy source, not a physical God who created the universe and sent down his son to be sacrificed. That is just wild to me. And any religion that tells you to worship anything outside of yourself, no. Because then you're constantly looking for something outside of yourself to feel fulfilled when everything you need is already within you. Anyways, I could go on about this for hours. There's so many different aspects. There are so many different topics, so many different bits and pieces that could be talked about. And I'd love to talk about them more, and I probably will. But for the sake of this video, of this podcast, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off here because I'm getting a little fired up for no reason, because I'm not talking to anybody. Nobody's debating with me. It's just the experiences I've had and seeing people push their beliefs or dismiss other people because of their beliefs, things like that. It's really upsetting to see. Like, we're all just energy having a human experience. We all are the same thing, and everything outside of you is just a reflection of yourself, because we're all from the same source. Let me not go off on a tangent, because I said I was going to go ahead and end this video. Anyways, if you stuck around this long, thank you. I hope that what I've talked about has, you know, helped you in some way, or shed light on certain things in some way, or even just pique your curiosity enough to go research something for yourself, because who am I? I don't expect anybody to believe a word that comes out of my mouth. You don't know me. And you should question everything. You should never just hear something and be like, "Oh yeah, okay, that's true then." Just like, you know, when the internet first became a big thing, adults were telling kids, you know, don't believe everything you read on the internet or whatever, because you shouldn't. But that's not just the internet. That's in life in general. You need to do your own research and decide what you believe, because anybody can say anything, just like men can tell us that the earth is round after centuries of people believing it was flat. And the masses just go along with it because they said so. Anyways, I guess that's all for today. I love you. Love yourself. And let's grow together. Kitty, 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 kitties. Kitty, 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 kitties. You're so cute. Miles. Hi, buddy. There's a Miles. There's a Miles. Miles was here with me too.